So we're here with Chuck Doolittle, and Chuck was a participant of our 2040 project, which is our weight loss program. And Chuck, we just have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit of your struggle with weight, about your life, and specifically your experience with some of the diets that you've tried.
Okay. My experience is that most of my life I've pretty much eaten whatever I've wanted to eat. No rules, no real regulations, and which was fine up until about the time I hit 23. And at that point I started putting on weight like you wouldn't believe. Within just a few short years I was morbidly obese. Much of my adult life, so probably around 30 years, I spent being at least 100 pounds overweight. At one point getting up to about 336 pounds compared to my high school graduation weight of 176. So weight's always been an issue for me. Food, weight, and everything associated with that. Your follow-up question was?
Your experience with some of the diets that you've tried.
Well, and naturally because of the difficulty with keeping weight off, I sought about everything I could put my hands on that I thought might possibly make a difference. And so I've invested money and spent time as a client of Jenny Craig most recently. Prior to that, I've been part of Weight Watchers. Not long before that, no, I'm sorry, in a different order. Weight Watchers was several years ago. In the last 10 years, I was part of a local Beaver Medical Clinic program called Lightways. Now, in two of those cases, I did lose a lot of weight. I also put more than the amount that I lost back on. So the one time I lost 100 pounds, 104 pounds to be exact, and ended up putting about 125 back on. The last time I lost weight, I did not put 125 back on. That was probably about 100 that I lost as well, and probably put about 40 back on. And that's the condition I found myself in when I came across your boot camp.
Great. So what was unique, what would you say was unique or different about the 2040 project?
Well, with all those other diets, they served a purpose to an extent, at least to the degree that I had any knowledge of, and I lost some weight. However, what I didn't realize is necessarily what I was putting in my body, what I was eating. I just knew that looking back now, I know looking back that I was eating less calories, I was eating less food, and so I was losing weight. I was hungry quite a bit, and so I felt a little frustrated because I was hungry, but it boiled down to that I put the weight back on because when I finished, there was no real plan, there was no real suggestion. I mean, there were a few suggestions, but nothing long-lasting that I could now go do. I wasn't going to be able to eat Jenny Craig meals for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to count points the rest of my life with Weight Watchers. I wasn't going to continue to attend a class the rest of my life. And so I ended up falling back into my default mechanism, which was to just eat. And that's pretty much what I had done, like I said, for much of 30 years. The frustrating thing for me with the whole diet plan compared to the 2040 was that I didn't know where to go from there. And with the 2040, I realized that there's something else to do. I don't have to look at food as this big confusing mass of overabundance, of overchoice that I'll never figure out, I'll never conquer. I was always confused by that. I would hear about what to eat, what not to eat, and it got to be so confusing to me that I just basically ate whatever and spent a lot of time doing that. So now, I'm doing something that I never thought I'd be doing, and I'm realizing that it's not about how much I eat. Not that I can just eat whatever as much as I want, but it's really about what. It's what I put in my mouth. Another thing I didn't mention is that, those other diets and pretty much my whole life, I was always bound to a scale. I always felt like I needed to be getting on that scale. I didn't want to get on the scale because I most of the time never liked what it showed me, but I felt like I was supposed to. Saw that from my mom doing it. My mom attended something called TOPS, Take Off Pounds Sensibly, which she didn't do, and it wasn't very sensible, but she did go there, and was obese most of her life. And so I always thought the scale was the answer. You know, that scale will tell you what to do and then you'll do it. I hate the scale. I still hate the scale. And since I've been doing the 20/40, once I finished the 20/40, I'm no longer on the scale. And the only reason I got on it during it was because I knew that I had weigh-ins coming in and I wanted to see how I was doing as I was coming in, so it was like a checking point for me. But since then, I've continued to drop weight. I couldn't tell you exactly because I'm not getting on the scale, but I think it's been another 5 or 6 pounds. I can tell it with my belt and my clothes. And so I'm not bound to that. I don't want to be bound to that, because that was another part of my personal little hell, you know, this scale. I've called food my 4-letter word, because food, and I had wished many times in my life that food wasn't necessary. I wish there's some way that I would never have to eat again. I mean, I felt most of my life like an alcoholic, only with food. I felt like I couldn't get anywhere near it, because once I did, I didn't know how to control myself. I can tell you how many times that I've gone to a bakery at a grocery store and gone out in the parking lot and eaten an entire cake. And I couldn't tell you how many times that I've just overindulged for the sake of overindulging. And I always thought it was my weakness, my flaw. I always felt like it was, you know, my cross to bear. My mom was obese, I'm going to be, and I have nothing I can do about it. And that's why I referred to most of my life in the realm of food as food insanity. It's always been an insane topic to me. And so to feel like I can now, what someone else might call my choices being limited, you know, call my choices as limited because I'm eating naturally and eating, you know, things that, you know, aren't processed. Someone else might say it's very limiting and that I'm missing out. But I don't feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I've found something that I finally can embrace. I don't have to get up in the morning worrying about what I'm going to eat. I don't have to, you know, worry about going to the grocery store and buying something that I shouldn't be buying because it's just not on my radar now. I think I've gotten past the point of the addiction, at least to maybe sugar. I'm not feeling those cravings. The biggest cravings I've felt in the last 3 months would be occasionally wanting to have like maybe some salted almonds with sea salt. That's how crazy I'm getting. And maybe some dried fruit. That's the only time I even feel any inkling of any kind of craving at all. And so I can feel like, I just feel a sanity returning to me, or I don't know if returning is the right way to say it. I don't think I've ever had it. I think I'm discovering a sanity when it comes to food that I never knew existed.